So hello everyone, I welcome you all to the Concept YouTube channel. So today's topics are, the first topic is about the core industry. This topic is related with economy. Then we will discuss about Siachen, IUC. This is small term that can be used in prelims. Then we will discuss about leopard population, climate risk. This is a very important topic, and the question can be framed even in essay and also in GS paper 3 under environment section. Then you have UNSC, United Nations Security Council. We will discuss few points about it as well. So question can be framed under GS paper 2. And in the end, I will give you the main question. So this session is presented by me. My name is Saurabh Pandey. If you are preparing for IS exam, you can join Unacademy. Many batch courses have been launched and many batch courses are about to launch. From today onwards, my current affair course is starting, and the course will start from today. The class will be at 1:30 p.m. So don't miss this course. In addition to Hindu, we will cover all the sources including international journals, areas like international relation, agriculture, geography, environment, internal security, border management, even polity and governance sections, globalization, society sections. So you have questions from current affairs in different subjects. So everything will be covered. Don't miss this course. So to join this course, you have to use this code, that is SPLIVE. From January 5 onwards, this agriculture optional course is starting. Again, I am taking this optional. The classes will start at 9:30 p.m. from January 5 onwards. So we'll start with paper 2. You have a great possibility and opportunity as well. You can score high in agriculture, both in Indian administrative services or civil service exam, and also Indian forest service exam. So to join these courses, you have to take Unacademy GS and optional subscription if you are preparing for 2022 and 23. To get the subscription, you have to visit unacademy.com, or you can download Unacademy learning app. Then you have to select UPSC CSC. You have to put this code SPLIVE. Once you put this code SPLIVE, the amount reduces by 10%. Core sector output shrinks 2.6% in November. So in this section, this is important from economic, or we can say it can be asked in prelims also and in economy section as well. And the question can be framed on this particular thing, that is core sector. It can't be framed on these data, because these data after 2 to 3 months they may change. So you need to have idea about what basically is the core sector. Presently, if you talk about the present data, as per the present data, refinery product, natural gas, crude oil output continued to decline. Refinery product, it declined by 4.8%, natural gas by 9.3%, crude oil by 4.9%. respectively. The volume of production of 8 core sector, which includes coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizer, steel, cement and electricity, it contracted by 2.6% in November 2020. So we have to understand about a very important topic, that is IIP, Index of Industrial Production. When you talk about Index of Industrial Production, it is an index that shows performance of different industrial sectors in Indian economy. There are many sectors, for example, manufacturing, mining, electricity. So how these sectors actually performed, the data related to these sectors are highlighted under Index of Industrial Production, and this index is published by Central Statistical Organization, CSO. In short, we call it as CSO. 3 sectors of IIP, Index of Industrial Productions, includes mining, manufacturing and electricity. You also need to remember the base year. The new base year is 2011 and 12. There are 407 items, 1 item in mining category, 405 item in manufacturing sector, and 1 item under electricity category. If you talk about the weightage of these different sectors in IIP, highest weightage is of manufacturing, that you need to remember, that is this is around 77.63. Mining, it is just 14.37, and of electricity it is 7.99 percentage. 8 core industries if you talk about these eight core industry, these eight core industries, actually the headline is related with these core industries only. So these eight core industry comprise nearly 40.27%. If you talk about the weightage of this eight core industry in IIP, it is around 40.27%. These eight core industries include electricity, steel, refinery product, crude oil, coal, cement, natural gas, fertilizer. In comment section, let me know which we can say which item has maximum weightage under core industries. Next is vaccine close to be approved. Now this is a small headline that you need to remember. We are aware that many of the companies, they are working to create the vaccine, and such vaccine which has more efficacy and effectiveness. The government may approve vaccine in India as well. So once it is approved, we'll discuss about it. Many of the vaccines are being produced by Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech. Next is about Colonel Bul Kumar. So this is again important. The question can be framed under person in news. So Bul Kumar, or we also call it as Colonel Narendra Kumar. So he has played a very important role in the launch of Operation Meghdoot, which was launched in 1984. So he passed away at 87. So here you need to understand about the Siachen. This is Siachen. You have this area, we call it as Gilgit-Baltistan, POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir. This is China occupied Ladakh region. This is Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh region. So if you talk about Siachen, it has a very strategic location. So it connects Gilgit-Baltistan with China occupied Ladakh region. It has a huge strategic advantage. So suppose Pakistan occupy this area or China occupy this area, they will be able to connect these two areas, which is one is occupied by Pakistan, other is occupied by the China. So understanding the importance of Siachen, Indian Armed Forces, they have launched what we call it as Operation Meghdoot in 1984. So we need to understand the importance of Siachen. In addition to this point, you also need to remember that LOC demarcation, about the controversy related with LOC, line of control demarcation. So there is this point called NJ 9842. Pakistan wants to again demarcate LOC, and it wants that this point NJ 9842 need to be considered, and demarcation should be done in such a manner that Siachen falls in Pakistan areas and falls in Pakistan control. So this is the reason Indian Armed Forces, they have realized the intention of Pakistan and China, and then this Operation Meghdoot carried out, and presently we have control in this region. Next is about the Kerala passes resolution for the repeal of the farm law. Now this can be used an example. We have already discussed about farm laws. Again, a very important topic. First you need to remember the different provisions related with farm laws. In addition, you also need to remember certain reforms in agriculture, certain challenges in agriculture marketing. We have discussed many parts or many things related with farmer laws and farmer protest. In addition to this, when you talk about the federal character of India, so this can be used as an example in GS paper 2. So when you talk about federalism in general, in federalism, the basic thing that need to be followed by both state and center, that is constitution. In constitution, you have state list, union list. Agriculture is mentioned in the state list, and there are certain subjects like agri products related marketing or sale, so it is mentioned in concurrent list. So this subject is mentioned in the concurrent list. So central government has the power to formulate laws related with this subject, and central government claims that these three farm laws actually formulated taking into context this provision of the constitution, which is again the subject is mentioned in the concurrent list. Now many of the state government, they are saying that parliament or the central government is actually encroaching their jurisdictional issue, because agriculture is a state subject. Under this context, if you will talk, then Kerala has passed a resolution. Kerala has also passed a resolution related with Citizenship Amendment Act. The question arises whether Kerala or the state government has the power to pass such a resolution, or to pass a resolution against the law passed in the parliament. So this is a challenge. This is again a classic example. This is a classic example which you can use when you are talking about Indian federalism feature, that you can use. Next is Jio calls to all network will be free from today. In this article, there is this term called IUC. We need to remember what actually is IUC. IUC is simply means interconnect uses charges. Interconnect uses charges is a cost paid by. Take an example. Suppose you are calling from Jio to Airtel. So both are different networks. So if you are calling from Jio to Airtel, so Jio will pay certain amount. For example, 6 paisa per minute. It will pay 6 paisa per minute to Airtel. So this amount we call it as interconnect usage charge. These calls with two different networks are known as mobile off-net calls. We also call it as mobile off-net call. Next is leopard count with a missing benchmark number. Again, a very important topic, and the argument used in this article can be used in topics related with challenges for the conservation of biodiversity or animal. You can use these arguments. So the goal of species conservation is to protect and increase the population of the species. Suppose our aim is to conserve any species. To conserve any species, the basic thing that we require is that we need to be aware about the number of animals, or the wild animals. Suppose in this case number of leopards which are there in different areas. So we need to estimate the number of these animals, then only we can carry out the conservation effort. Now in case of leopard, what happened that while carrying out tiger estimation, we used the resources which were there for a tiger estimation for counting leopard as well. For example, if you are carrying out camera trap, you are putting camera trap to count tiger, then the same camera trap is used to count leopard as well. There are certain areas, for example, many of the there are many areas in northeastern region and other areas where tigers do not exist, but leopards present. But because the leopard estimation was carried out along with the tiger estimation, so separate estimation was not done in areas where tiger is not present. And status of leopard in India 2080, it depicted a country has around 12,000 leopard. It may be possible that the number of leopards are higher side. Leopard habitats in such habitats, maybe the tiger may not be present, but leopard is present. Take the case Rocky outcrop, small dry forest, higher elevation habitat, agricultural landscapes. In these areas leopards may present, but tiger may not present. But the census which was carried out, we didn't focus in such areas. So we need to focus in such areas as well. When you talk about the factors responsible for reduction in number of leopards, there are many factors. For example, habitat loss due to mining and quarrying, poaching for body part, mortality, vehicular collision with a vehicle, killing due to human leopard conflict. In many cases there is a conflict between human and leopard. So what happens, leopard are killed by humans, accidental death. Suppose a trap is made for other animals, and in that trap leopard is caught. So on many occasions leopard died because of that. So these are the factors which are responsible for reduction in the population of leopard. Next is, this is the very important topic, the best topic we can say. This will be asked, or this can be asked in GS paper 3 under environment section. A separate essay topic can also be asked. The topic is acclimatizing to climate risk. So first part, we have to understand that in several parts of North India, we are facing cold waves, and it is said that because of the La Nina, the winter may be longer and harsher. It is also said that that this year 2021 will be among the Earth's hottest years. So what basically is the La Nina? What is El Nino? What is El Nino Modoki? There is a separate session on these topics. You can see those topics. If you will search these topics on YouTube, you will get my session, and you can watch those sessions to understand La Nina, El Nino, or El Nino Modoki, MJO type topics are covered. Second part is that when you talk about La Nina takes place in Pacific Ocean, and when La Nina takes place, there is a heavy rainfall along Australia, and there is a drought-like situation in Caribbean and western part of southern South America. So this is the case. This is also said that rising temperature may also result into increase in climate extreme events. There has been a recent study by Council of Energy, Environment and Water. These data are very important. You need to use these data. You need to quote these data. You need to note down these data so that you can use in your answers. So it is said that 75% district in India, where about half of the population of India lives, they are actually vulnerable to extreme climate risk. That means the intensity of drought, or we can say the intensity of flood or climate change related events, may take place with higher frequency in these districts. Also, it is said that India witnessed around 250 extreme climate events between 1970 and 2005. Country recorded around 310 extreme climate events after 2005 alone. Further, between 90 to 2019, India incurred losses exceeding $100 billion. Now, this fact is also important. In development process, like if you are carrying out development process and procedures, we are carrying out we have different policies related with development. We are constructing new roads, buildings, everything we are doing. But if you are not including or inculcating the policy of disaster management in development process, then it may be possible that this development may be destroyed by the climate change. And this has to be limited. This has to be seen in the context that if we include disaster management policies in development process, then in future it may save a lot of money, or we can say the financial or the fiscal resources loss can be reduced. It is also said that the intensity of flood increased 8-fold. Associated events such as landslide, heavy rainfall increased over 20 times since 1970. Drought affected districts have increased by yearly average 13 times. All these facts you can quote. Drought affected district, it has increased by yearly average of 13%. Frequency of cyclones doubled. 40% of the Indian districts show a swapping trend. Swapping trends means where there was earlier a flood type situation, now it is facing a drought like situation, and vice versa. Even UN Secretary General has highlighted that in 2021 either we make it or break it. It simply means that either we take steps to arrest and reverse climate change, or we may face the repercussion or the consequences which can impact the human civilization as a whole. Even the steps, when you talk about the steps that need to be taken, so India should create an environment health de-risking mission. This is an important point you need to remember. Environment health de-risking mission. In this mission, we may increase emergency preparedness. It means if there is a case of high flood, or there is a case of drought type situation, we need to prepare ourselves. We need to prepare ourselves in advance. We need to use our critical resource. We need to use our resources in a sustainable manner, and we need to secure critical resources as well. We need to develop resilient infrastructure. Means they are not that much prone to climate change related events. We also need to improve our governance system. We have to improve our governance system so that we can counter, or we can take required steps when these climate change event take place. Mission should also focus on democratizing local climate related data. Because why we are saying this? Because there are many districts where there was a flood earlier, now it is facing drought, and vice versa. So suppose if that district is prone to drought and it is facing flood, so we cannot prepare ourselves just for the drought. We also need to prepare ourselves for the flood management as well. So this can only happen when we are using the local climate related or weather related data, and we are integrating with the national, subnational level, and so that the data can be used proper analyze, and we can carry out the disaster management by using proper by using all the resources in a proper manner. Second, it is said that India needs a comprehensive climate risk atlas. This is again a very important, because if you have a comprehensive climate risk atlas which highlights different parts, for example, different things related with resource vulnerability, different aspects are being highlighted. Where is water stress, where is crop loss, where is vector borne diseases, where is biodiversity collapse, where are different resources vulnerability, everything is highlighted in atlas. So by using the atlas, now this, for generating such atlas you require a very accurate data as well. So for collecting data and integrating that data, that is also required. So this data, the data mentioned in these atlas can be used for proper policy making and effective policy making related with disaster management, and also for the development purpose as well. We also need to develop the adoption capabilities of communities and business. We need to take such steps, and this atlas can help in this direction. Third is about the finance climate action. If you are taking certain steps to arrest and reverse climate change, now we have to take steps in order to finance such steps. There are many steps that can be taken related with the finance of climate action. One can be the use of green climate fund, even the resources with the participation of community can also be collected. There should be efficient allocation across sector at risk. By mobilizing investment, we can mobilize investment on critical infrastructure and resilient community action. Finally, as a permanent chair of recently formed Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, for example, you have this disaster resilient infrastructure. So India presently chairs this disaster resilient infrastructure. So we can develop such infrastructure, which we are calling a disaster resilient infrastructure. We can create such infrastructure which will help this will help to create such infrastructure which can stand in front of extreme climate event. So to develop such infrastructure, we can focus to increase the private investment in these area as well. Next is about the Pakistan threat at the UN pose no challenge to India. In this, we have to understand two things. One is related with the terrorism part. There is no universal definition of terrorism. Terrorism, basically, if you talk about terrorism or terrorist organizations, they are basically running as a business organization. They're running as a business organizations, and they are used as a tool in the international arena. So we need a definition, a universal, comprehensive definition of terrorism. Second is about the UNSC reform, because India is about to become the non-permanent member of United Nations Security Council. So India can set such an agenda which take into consideration the interest of many of the developing countries. At the same point of time, India can also highlight on bringing reform in United Nations Security Council, so that the representative character of United Nations or United Nations Security Council increases, and India representation will ensure that around 130 crore peoples are represented in UNSC. So considering this, India need to take certain steps. We have carried out a discussion in detail about reforms in UNSC in our earlier session as well. So do watch that sessions. So in the end, let's see the question: what step India can take for acclimatizing to climate risk? You have to send your answer by 5:30 p.m. Try to send it as soon as possible, so that your answer can be considered for answer writing championship. and your name will be published in this channel only. And yesterday the best answer was of Swayambhu, so keep writing. Don't forget to like the session. Please share this channel as well, so that I can continue these initiatives related with answer writing. And I will in few days I will also start this MCQ series, or current related MCQ series as well. The target is to achieve 15,000 subscriber. Once this 15,000 subscriber reaches, I will start with the MCQ series. So I request you ki do share the channel link, ask others also to subscribe the channel, and you also don't forget to subscribe the channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification. So thank you everyone, and let's crack it.